Hey everyone! Welcome back for another video. For today's video I wanted to do an inventory showcase, so I could show you guys all of the event trophies in one video. Let's take a look. In my inventory, I have 14 out of the 15 rare event trophies. I also have 2 gold trophies and a silver trophy. Also, before I do the showcase, I feel like some people will get mad about this video. They'll probably call me a no-life. They might think I'm flexing or bragging. But really I'm not making this video to flex. I thought it would make a nice document to showcase all of the trophies in one video. Also, viewers have asked me to make this video, so hopefully nobody gets too upset. Anyway, I think a lot of people misunderstand my grinding. So before looking at the weapons, I wanted to briefly discuss what led to me having all these trophies. My participation in the first leaderboard was based on 4 factors. First factor: I was competitive in MM2 clans at the time. So naturally I wanted to compete with the other clans on this new event leaderboard too. If you aren't familiar, MM2 used to have something called clans, and they were pretty competitive. There also used to be daily, weekly, monthly, and all-time leaderboards for clans and players. So some of us were used to leaderboards when the event leaderboard came. And naturally if there was a leaderboard we would play it. The second factor was I had started to get into collecting. I had just completed collecting every item in MM2 and had a complete collection. Then the first event dropped. So naturally I wanted to maintain my complete collection and get the new item. The third reason I started to grind trophies was duping. There had just been a major issue with duping in MM2. The first I had witnessed or experienced. And suddenly none of the rare items I had recently attained, like corrupt and sugar, had any value anymore. I thought the new trophies might have some value. And the fourth factor: I was already playing MM2 a lot. So of course I would play the events. Okay, so I hope that helps some of you understand how I started my leaderboard journey. And now we can look at the trophies. Starting with the first event, the 2017 Christmas event. That event was a salvage event. The first trophy was Blue Candy. I landed on the number 4 spot. I'm equipping it here with its match Blue Sugar. Let's load in a map to take a better look. Blue Candy. I think this is a pretty unique and special trophy. It's one of my favorites. Since it was the first trophy, that alone makes it really special. The Candy trophy is a recolor of the Candy Godly. Candy was really popular in MM2 during that time, and it still is. So being such a loved weapon, it was a great choice for a trophy. Personally I like this recolor a lot. The color is pretty, not too dark, and feels vibrant. It feels like a prize, something special. Also I love using candy, it feels light and airy. Let's take a look at the throw. It feels really soft to me. Decorations. It's a good size I think for a weapon. It's fun to throw. Doesn't feel too heavy. Lands softly. Blue Candy is pretty perfect. And here's the stab. Sweet like candy, of course. Let's take a last look at Blue Candy with some effects. Starting with the blue flaming effect. It seems to match color-wise pretty perfectly. I like the way flaming effect moves with the knife. Let's try some more effects. Next, Arctic. I love this effect. Maybe color-wise not perfect for candy, but it's a decent match. Let's try Aurora. I don't think the textures match. Aurora feels reflective, so kind of needs some metal. Next, Ghostly. Similar to Blue Flaming effect color-wise, but it moves differently. It's a bit heavy. Next, let's try Frostbite. It's a bit softer than Ghostly, less overpowering. Next, let's try Ice Magic. I kind of think this works for blue candy. It's nice and soft and really matches the vibe of the knife. Next, Starry effect. Again, I like the color contrast of the blues and the yellow. Next up, Minty. Feels too busy for candy, but feels kind of Christmassy. Next, Snowfall. Feels like a snowy day. The white isn't distracting to the blue. And last, let's look at Petals. No time, but pretty. The next trophy event was the 2018 Halloween event. That year I received the number 15 Red Hallow. For this leaderboard you could grind candy or buy candy to get on one leaderboard. Let's take a better look. Red Hallow. This trophy was also a recolor, this time of the Hallows Edge Godly. The blade shape, design, and details are all really cool, and the red recolor improves on the original weapon. It looks for me way better and more impressive than the original. I love the details and that it totally has a Halloween feel to it. The curved handle, thorny spikes, and the pumpkin detail. You see his horns and his face better. He's a cool character. Let's check out the stab. This weapon is kind of big in my opinion. It's kind of extended. The reach, compared to candy at least, bigger than what I usually use. Let's see the throw. It feels really strong to me, maybe looks a bit intimidating. This was the first red trophy. I can remember when it was released. Some weren't happy. They were already growing tired of recolors. But I don't know. I kind of like recolors of classic Godlies. For me they feel pretty special. Let's take another look at Red Hallow. This time with an effect. The best effect for it I'd say would be the vampire effect. It gives off a nice soft red glow that really complements and adds to the red in the weapon. And since the weapon isn't fully red, I think it adds a bit of extra color. In some cases I wouldn't want to use an effect with a trophy, but in this case I would. Since the metal body is pretty dominant, and the reds are a bit dark, so the glow really helps it shine. Sorry I forgot to switch effects, but just felt vampire was perfect for it. The next trophy was earned during the Christmas 2018 event. The trophy was for gifting. That year I got a number 10 blue sugar. Its match is intended to be candy, so I have that equipped as a set right now. The blue sugar trophy was upscaled in size recently. Let's take it into game and get a better look. This trophy is also a nice recolor of a classic MM2 weapon, the Sugar Godly. Like the original candy weapon, Sugar was also pretty popular in its day. Sugar was the highest on the value list at a time, but it had faced duping issues in 2017. That really brought down its value and reputation. Anyway, the trophy really gave new life back to Sugar, and I think it gave some value back to the weapon. I do like this trophy a lot. The only thing is for a set the color doesn't match blue candy, so it kind of throws it off. But still it has a nice color of its own. That does fit the weapon. Just imagine though if the little candy canes in the frame of blue sugar matched blue candy. Or had some of the tones mixed in. It would be nice if they matched better. However, I'm not complaining. Just noting some observations. I appreciate this trophy. I love all the artistic details. The Christmas lights on the barrel really show up on the trophy. I like the snowflake design and the candy cane frame. As I mentioned before, blue sugar did get a revamp recently. Let's compare. Here's a look at blue sugar before the revamp. Before, the trophy was a bit smaller than the original. But as you can see, it wasn't that bad. It was a small adjustment. The size difference is hardly noticeable really. The revamp only increased the size to match the godly. But luckily nothing else changed. Blue sugar is still an amazing gun and trophy. I think a blue trail for the bullets on this trophy would look really good. But aside from that, there's nothing I'd change. Let's take a look at the next trophy. This one was earned on the 2019 Halloween event. Blue Elderwood Gun. On that event I earned the number 1 spot. It was the first grind event in MM2. And it was the first unique trophy. Not a recolor of an existing godly. A new weapon created just for the event. Let's get a better look. Adding some dramatic effect in this room. Elderwood is a pretty cool gun. I like how it feels like it's made out of actual wood. You can feel the wooden textures. Feels kind of wicked. And fits the Halloween vibe really well. My thoughts on Elderwood gun is that it was made out of a special kind of wood, called Elderwood. And that's what gives it its unique feel, shape and texture. Overall, I just like this gun a lot. For me it's a pretty good fit. I think the size is pretty perfect. And I love its unique design aspects. Like the pattern on the barrel. It feels kind of space age and futuristic. Yet also still almost ancient or old. It's interesting because being futuristic or ancient are totally different vibes. But for me it for sure has both. I like the color choice too. I think it blends really well. The color almost feels like it comes from a glow within the gun. And it adds something special without being overpowering. This doesn't scream trophy to me, maybe the same way candy does. It feels for me more like a unique weapon than a trophy. But maybe it's part of what I like about it too. It's very understated. Next I'll show you the gold version. Gold Elderwood gun. Equipping it here with gold vampire's edge. Let's take a better look in map. Gold Elderwood gun. The golden color really pops on this gun. It complements the gun, its design and details really well. I think the color and highlights are perfect. The cracks on the handle are one of my favorite elements. The gold against the brown and black tones. To me everything is really balanced and really beautiful. Gold Elderwood feels like it was coated in gold. I like how it seems to reflect light naturally. And feels almost metal or shiny. I also love the size of this weapon. How it sits in my hand. It's not too big or obstructive. It doesn't block my line of sight ever. If I could add one thing, I would add a gold trail on the shot. Some people do call me a no-life for grinding. But I mean, for me this was totally worth my effort. Comparing to the blue versions, the top 3 versions have the cracks on the handle, which the top 100 trophies don't have, and that really adds something special to the gun. But aside from it being gold, it's just a great gun. So I'm able to use this gun a lot, and it's not just something I keep in my weapon museum. I'm thankful to have reached first on that event. This is one of my favorite weapons. The next event was the 2019 Christmas event. For that event I received 2 trophies, a set. For grinding I received the number 4 blue Logchopper. I'm equipping it here with its matching weapon, blue Minty. Let's take a better look in map. Blue Logchopper. This is a pretty interesting weapon to me. I like that it brought back the blue trophy color of blue candy. It has that same feeling. It feels like a trophy. It feels, I think, a bit more special than the original Logchopper. Also it matches blue Minty so perfectly. Together they look really amazing. It was really a great trophy set. I also like blue Logchopper because of its size. It's not too big, not too small, it's just right. For me at least, I find it good for everyday gameplay. Let's see the throw. It feels pretty light and small, but has some power behind it still. Also the stab and reach isn't anything too crazy. It has a nice reach. Not too extended. The design or shape, I don't know why, but it reminds me of like a seashell. Or a weapon of the sea. The color also adds to that vibe for me. Something about it. Though it does have a decent amount of holiday elements still. Like the berry detail and the leaf on the bottom. And the brown and gold that give it the gingerbread feeling. Anyway, very cool weapon. Next let's try blue Logchopper with some effects. Starting with Frostfire. Frostfire is a pretty nice fit. The blue tones complement Log, but it feels too dramatic maybe. Let's try something else. Ghostly. This also looks kind of similar to Frostfire. Just more of a greener tone. Next let's try Chili. I kind of like this a lot for Log. It brings the winter vibe to the weapon. And brings out its color. Next Petals. I like the mismatched pink and blue. It's soft and gives a nice contrast. Next Ice Magic. Same as with Petals. The purple and Ice Magic kind of highlight Log a bit. I like the mismatch of colors sometimes. Last, let's see snowfall. Same as with chili. I think it reminds me that this is a winter weapon, and is a really nice effect for log. Next up we can take a look at Blue Minty. This was the second trophy for the 2019 Christmas event. This one you received for placing on the gifting leaderboard. I received the number 92 Blue Minty. Let's take a better look. Blue Minty. Blue Minty is a great match for Blue Logchopper. But I also think it goes pretty nice with Blue Candy, because it has a similar color. It might match better than Blue Sugar. The details are really nice, like the candy cane pattern, the gingerbread elements. It does have a few flaws. When you look close, you can see the red tones from the original Minty, but unless you get really close you won't see it. It doesn't take away from the weapon. It feels almost like it's hand painted. The texture feels really soft and natural. And the barrel feels like it's almost made out of paper to me. I like the understated kind of vintage feel. Blue Minty has more of a holiday feel to me than Blue Logchopper. The leaf and berry detail is more prominent, along with the candy cane stripes and gingerbread. But still, it doesn't necessarily feel stuck in the season. This is a nice little handgun. I would almost call it cute. I like the color and the shape. The size is also really good. It's great as a trophy and also for gameplay. It's comfortable to use. Anyway, I think Blue Minty is a really cool and unique trophy. And this is a cool set. The next event came on Halloween 2020. For this event the trophy was a Blue Vampire's Edge. On this event I was able to again reach the number 1 spot. Blue Vampire's Edge recently had a revamp. Let's take a look. Blue Vampire's Edge. I was always really happy with this weapon being the trophy. It was the weapon I really hoped for as the trophy that year. The revamp did change the blue version a bit. Aesthetically it feels almost like a totally different weapon. I guess for me it's a bit hard to get used to, since the former Blue Vampire's Edge had a pretty unique color. That kind of gave it its signature, or character. The new color also gives it character, but just a different vibe. This is Blue Vampire's Edge before the revamp. It looks pretty different, and really only the color has changed, aside from some cracks being added. Here's a rendering of how the new design would look possibly with the old color. Which do you prefer? I kind of lean towards the old color, just because that's what it was for so long. 2+ years. The new color matches Harvester pretty nicely, but the old color used to match Blue Elderwood Gun really well. Vampire's Edge overall is a good match for Elderwood Gun, so I'm kind of conflicted about it. Had Elderwood Blade matched Elderwood Gun maybe, Anyway, the updated version is still really nice. It's super refined now. The color is a bit dark. And some highlights feel a bit heavy. I kind of feel it's the highlights that throw it off a bit. They don't feel naturally reflected. But still, the weapon itself isn't based on color alone. It's still a great weapon. Let's see the stab. I like weapons that aren't too large. And maybe feel like an extension of your hand. It feels more like a knife than a godly to me. I like the size a lot. I've always been a fan of Vampire's Edge because I really like the shape. I like how the throw feels sharp when it lands. And it feels really strong and ancient. I think this would be a fitting weapon for any vampire. And also, despite the change and any preference, I still love this weapon. Next, let's see Blue Vampire's Edge with some effects. Starting off with petals. Maybe this would seem like an odd choice. It may be just my color mood for the day. But I really like petals with Blue Vampire's Edge. The contrast of the blue with the pink looks really nice. Maybe petals also is such a beautiful effect that it likely will go well with anything. But maybe also because of the dark undertones to this weapon. I feel like maybe petals gives it some brightness and brings out the blues more. It really amplifies the shape too a bit. Okay, I got carried away. Before time's up, let's see some more effects with it. Wraith Fire. Kind of a good match for it. It feels like the energy of the knife. Next, let's try Northern Lights. This feels a bit more calm. Again, the color variation helps show the blue more. Last, let's try Frost Fire again. I think it's a nice match for a lot of blue weapons. Maybe a nice match here for Blue Vampire's Edge. Also, since I was first on that event, I received the Gold Vampire's Edge. This gave me a gold set. I was the first player to achieve 2 gold trophies. Sorry, just thought I'd flex for a moment. Gold Vampire's Edge was also recently updated. Let's take a better look in map. Gold Vampire's Edge. So I think the revamp on this weapon helped it a lot. Though personally I was happy with it either way. But let's take a look at the pre-revamp to compare. So as you can see, the weapon itself didn't change much. Really just the color changed. And cracks were added to the body. Before the revamp, I got a lot of negative comments about this knife. Because of the yellow tones. Well, it never looked bad to me anyway. Had it stayed the same, I wouldn't have minded. It has some special quality to me. The movement of it, the shape of the blade and the angles. Even though the updated version is more refined, and actually looks golden now, as a weapon this was always great for me. The changes on Gold Vampire's Edge were pretty minimal and complementary. It still feels like the same weapon to me, just more refined. But I do love the soft golden color really. This feels like a gold knife actually. Let's see the throw. I like again how it's not too big. Kind of like a knife but more. Also, the crack detail really shows up with the golden undertones. And makes it an even better match for Gold Elderwood Gun. Since Gold Elderwood Gun has such a nice and similar cracked pattern. I couldn't ask for anything better personally. Again, I love the blade shape. And the details like the spikes and cracks. It's pretty special. It feels really different than the blue version. I think the bright contrast really complements the blade. Looking at the stab again. I like the reach. It's not too extended. Not sword-like. Like a godly. This is an extension of my hand. Reaching out to you in MM2 sometime soon, lol. Anyway, this knife is a perfect fit for me. And I'm super happy to have it. Before we finish with Gold Vampire's Edge, let's take a look at it with an effect. Sorry, I didn't change effects around much for this one. I don't usually use effects that much with Gold Vampire's Edge. Sometimes I will use dark fire with it. Or the pink flaming effect for some contrast. Petals may also look nice. But maybe I'll save that for a future video. Anyway, here I have it equipped with starry effect. Color-wise it was kind of close. Honestly, I was just having fun decorating. And got hypnotized by the stars. And forgot to switch effects. Starry is kind of a fun effect. But also it's a bit busy and cartoony. Also it's really yellow. And not so golden. I wouldn't use it all the time. But maybe for fun on an occasion. I feel like maybe it would downgrade the weapon a bit. And it's better to stand on its own. Unless there was some nice subtle golden effect to go with it. Anyway, for the purpose of this highlight though, the starry effect looks really cool with Gold Vampire's Edge. Especially when it gets stuck in the invisible barrier. Like stars in the sky. The next event was Christmas 2020. In 2020, Iceblaster was the trophy for the gifting leaderboard. For this event I received number 68. Equipped here with its match red Icebreaker. Let's take a better look in map. Red Iceblaster. Another great trophy. Again, the concept behind this set is really cool. It's a block of ice. But also it's a gun. I think the design is really perfect. It totally feels like what it is intended to be. The color again is really nice on the weapon. And matches red Icebreaker perfectly. It is a little big to me. But I totally understand the size on it. Visually that helps it fit Icebreaker even better. It's not too extended. But when I do play with it, feels like it can block my line of sight sometimes. Anyway, the size would probably be my only dislike of the weapon. But again, that's just based on personal preference for gameplay. I still do appreciate this gun a lot. I love the details. I like how they were able to achieve the ice feeling. Like it really does feel like a block of ice. The rugged shape of the body and the white highlights add to that effect. Also, this little screw or pin you can see inside, that little detail really helps to give the perspective that this object is ice. Since you can see the pin through the gun. When you get close, the pin actually appears to be on the outside, lol. But yeah, from a distance it does feel encased. And gives you the intended feeling. Anyway, I also love the soft black color. Against the cherry red. And the color blending. This weapon's really well done. Another great trophy. Next, let's take a look at the match to red Iceblaster. Red Icebreaker. This was the trophy for the grinding leaderboard in 2020. That year I received the number 2 red Icebreaker. Let's take a look. Red Icebreaker. When the red ice set came, it was a change from the usual Christmas type of trophy. They're a lot tougher. and less sweet than weapons like candy or minty. Also, they were the first red trophies for a Christmas event. I love all the details. Like having a character built in. He's super tough, and the weapon is tough enough to fit the character, I think. And look at his face. The horns. The glowing red eyes. And we can't ignore his beautiful smile. The double blades seem fitting for him. They add to his feeling of toughness and power. Let's check out the throw. It lands with some power. I like how heavy it feels. Other details I really like are the cherry red color. It has a rich color, but it's not too heavy. And it's also a perfect match for Iceblaster. I also like that this weapon is kind of big. But it doesn't feel oversized. The size is kind of perfect. It's a comfortable weapon to use. And fun to play with. I like that it's not stuck in some holiday theme. That it has some influence from the holiday, but isn't defined by it. And that it can be used in any season. It could almost feel like a Halloween trophy. But these aren't complaints. Let's see the stab. Pretty fearsome. For me it does feel a bit wider than maybe some other weapons I use. Especially on throws. It's more forgiving. But I think that can be expected with bigger weapons. Overall size-wise it's not too big. And it's a really fun weapon to use. The red ice set was a great addition to trophies. Next, let's take a quick look at red Icebreaker using some effects. Starting with Minty effect. I kind of feel like this might be one of the better effects for it. I wish Minty rotated a little bit slower. It feels too high speed. But for red Icebreaker, the pop of white kind of gives some highlight to the beautiful silhouette or shape of Icebreaker. I think since it's a darker red, a whiter or lighter effect maybe looks better. Next, let's see it with Vampire. Vampire is a red effect. I like that it's just a glow. But it matches so similarly to red Icebreaker color-wise. Doesn't give it any definition really. Next, let's see Wraithfire. I kind of feel like a heavy, stronger effect maybe looks good with Icebreaker, matching its power a bit. I also like the purple and red color contrast, and the movement of Wraithfire. Next, let's look at Snowfall. Again, I think the whites of this effect kind of bring out the reds in the weapon. And it's a nice complement. The brighter glow helps define the shape of the weapon. Next, Heartify. Cause I really like the irony of the scary face and all the hearts around it. Also, the pink plays nice off the red. Electric Knife. I thought this might match his power, but it hides his face and doesn't really work at all. Last, look with Easter Glow. So for placing second on the 2020 Christmas event, I also received a silver trophy. Silver Icebreaker. Let's take a look at it in map. Silver Icebreaker. The silver metal flower growing in the garden. I love how metallic it feels. Another thing I love about this trophy, it's almost fully silver. Some of the base has black tones, but the majority of the weapon is silver coated. Like gold Elderwood. And unlike gold Vampire's Edge, which is almost 50-50 black and gold. I think that adds something to the trophy, at least for me. I like when it has a full metal feeling to it. And the silver really complements this weapon. It feels solid. I think the full metal really works for this weapon. Look at his face. He looks ghostly with silver fangs. It's interesting how much a color change can affect the weapon. Now that it feels like a metal, it feels even stronger. Sharper maybe. You can really see the blades better. And the weapon shape. I like how unique it feels. It's like a new weapon. The metal quality really works for Icebreaker. To me it's super cool. I wouldn't say actually that it feels like an ice weapon anymore. It feels more like a heavy metal. But that's not a problem at all. Let's see the throw. Boom. Again has a lot of power behind it. Imagine that face coming at you. Let's decorate the bush. Oh, that explains the stabbing feeling in my invisible face. Dangerous weapon. Anyway, I'm super happy to have this weapon. It's really impressive. It's one of my favorite trophies. Now let's take a look at Silver Icebreaker with some effects. Starting with petals. I think this is a pretty sweet match. Really, petals complements most weapons. It's a beautiful effect. But the soft pink off the silver metal is really a nice touch. Both the effect and the weapon are complemented by one another. As you will see, most effects look great on Silver Icebreaker. Probably since it is without color essentially. His face is really hard and maybe scary. So petals softens him up a bit. Next, looking at Aurora. I think this also goes well with the metal. And really gives it a metallic vibe. Feels like the effect is reflecting off the weapon. Next, bats. I don't know, but I love bats with Silver Icebreaker. The pattern and movement of bats is really fun for this weapon. Has a nice spooky feel. Let's try something else. Next, Heartify. Again, I love the irony with hearts. It gives an emotion to the weapon. And also the pink with the silver isn't a bad matchup. Next, Chili. Chili maybe is closer to the silver tones with the whites. And can be a pretty nice match. Frostfire. Also nice. I think the movement of Frostfire works with the solid feeling of Silver Icebreaker. Next, Rainbow. I love rainbow on items with no color. So silver is pretty nice for it. Last, Void. This is also a nice fit. Hard to pick a favorite match. The next event came in Halloween 2021. On that event I earned a number 15 Blue Harvester. Blue Harvester is matched here with Blue Vampire's Edge. This is an awesome trophy. Let's get a better look. Blue Harvester. Harvester was a really unique gun to MM2. A crossbow. This was a new concept in 2021. A crossbow hadn't existed in MM2 before this. so it was the first of its kind. And I think it was an amazing idea. Aside from it being pretty special, it's also a pretty nice looking weapon. It has a sleek shape and design. It's really clean. The blue version looks kind of muted and vintage. The size is also really perfect and comfortable to hold. I like the way it sits in my hand. Of course, one of the best features of Harvester is its sound. Also the blue trail on the shot. That really made the blue Harvester one of a kind. The color is a bit dark for me, to be honest. On release I really wanted and pictured this red. But over time I'm getting used to it. Anyway, this is a really great trophy. Sorry about that. The sound can be kind of addictive. Something satisfying about it for sure. With Harvester being so special, I think it raised expectations even for trophies. Next, let's take a look at the trophies from the 2021 Christmas event. Starting with the trophy from the grinding leaderboard. Blue Swirly Axe. On this event I received the number 11 Blue Swirly Axe, equipped here with its match, Blue Swirly Gun. Let's get a closer look in map. Blue Swirly Axe. This feels like a real weapon. It feels heavy, like it's made of steel. In terms of the weapon, I love the shape and the unique details, like the bow, star, and candy feature. I like again how it's a holiday weapon, but doesn't necessarily feel stuck in the season. You could use this any time of year. It feels really comfortable and useful as a weapon. And it's also really strong as a set, since it matches perfectly with Blue Swirly Gun. Let's check out the throw. Like Icebreaker, it has some power behind it. Feels like throwing a rock. All the weight goes where it lands. Let's see the stab. It feels strong. Has a nice fair reach. It's a bit big, but not oversized. If I could change anything about this weapon, I would adjust the color. I feel like during 2021 every trophy had the same color. It doesn't really pop for me. A more vibrant color might help details stand out more. But color is just really based on preference. And this is a great design. Let's take a look at Swirly with a few effects. First, I have it equipped here with Arctic. I think this might be the best match for it. Swirly is so clean and with smooth lines, so this effect kind of adds some energy to it. I love Arctic effect too. Has a thickness to it. The dark blues in Arctic also give some contrast. Next, let's look at Aurora. I think it kind of looks nice with metals, and feels a bit like it's reflected from the metals. So kind of works. Next, Ghostly. Actually, this probably doesn't go too well. The color is a bit off, and doesn't really complement Blue Swirly. Last, let's try Snowfall. I like this for Swirly. Brings the winter snowy vibes. Also, the weapon has kind of such a clean shape. This effect complements it a bit, without being too overbearing. Next let's take a look at Blue Swirly Gun. This trophy was achieved for gifting on the 2021 Christmas event. I received the number 57 Blue Swirly Gun. Let's take a look in map. Blue Swirly Gun. Again, I think this is a pretty cool and unique trophy. It may not be my style necessarily, but I really appreciate this weapon. It's kind of unique in MM2. Visually a bit different than most MM2 guns. It has a knife attached, which I really wish was removable and equipable. But anyway, Blue Swirly is a pretty big gun. It has a long barrel that could fit a huge bullet. You can see the force of this weapon. Design-wise, I like all the details. The candy feature and the candy stripes. But this isn't really the color of any candy I've seen. Same as with Blue Swirly Axe. I would be curious to see it with a more vibrant color. I think the unique details might stand out more then. Like with some distance it kind of feels muted, but still this weapon is more about the shape. Its silhouette is so cool. And overall the concept is really well executed. Reminds me of a weapon a pirate might use. For me it's a bit big, but really it needs to fit with the axe size wise. I really like how it seems to shine. It makes it feel natural as a metal. Cool weapon again. Next up, let's take a look at the trophy from Halloween 2022. The trophy was for grinding, and I received the number 4 Blue Elderwood Blade. I equipped Blue Elderwood Blade with Blue Elderwood Gun. Its intended match. Let's take a better look. Blue Elderwood Blade. I like that the Elderwood theme was brought back. This gave me a bit of a nostalgic feeling. I like that they kept the weapon and theme. And like Elderwood Gun, it's created in the theme of wood. On the blade I really get the wooden feeling in the handle, which is probably my favorite feature, along with the subtle cracks by the handle. Let's check out the throw. I like throwing this knife. The shape is interesting. It feels kind of like a hatchet. Maybe reminds me of handsaw a bit. Like any horror movie slasher might really like this weapon. The rugged edges on the blade add to the vibe of the weapon. Feeling kind of wicked maybe, in the Halloween sense. Let's see the stab. It feels heavy, maybe a bit extended like Red Hallows. Since Blue Elderwood Blade is in the Elderwood family of weapons, I tend to look at it in comparison to Blue Elderwood Gun. They're a match in name and style a bit, but for me they also feel really different. Size-wise the blade is a lot bigger. Also color-wise, the blade has a darker, richer color. The black on the blade is also very strong, and creates a heavy contrast that you don't see on the gun. The colors of the gun are lighter, and feel more like a glow a bit. Many might prefer the clean look of the blade, but for me I really like the more vintage look of the gun. The gun also maybe has more of an organic wooden feeling. I just get less of a wooden vibe from the blade. Anyway, still a great weapon. I'd just prefer to use them separately. They don't really work as a set for me. And I think matching Blue Elderwood Blade with Harvester is actually more satisfying since they're a color match. Next let's take a last look at blue Elderwood blade with some effects. I have it equipped here with Frost Fire. I feel like Frost Fire is a good complement to blue Elderwood blade. And also to some of the darker trophies, since it's a bit brighter than the trophy color. Also it kind of softens the hard lines on blue Elderwood blade, and gives it a nice ghosty essence. Feels like it's alive. So I feel like it's a really good fit. Let's see it with another effect. Let's try Void. Again, I really like Void. I don't think colors need to always match, if they have the same vibe and undertone. I like the chunky and thick smoky feel to Void. And I think it matches the vibes of Elderwood blade a bit. For the next event, Christmas 2022, the trophy was a new red ice set. It was a bit of a throwback to 2020. For the grind leaderboard I earned the number 5 red Icepiercer. Pretty exciting to have a red crossbow added to the game. I have it equipped here with red Icebreaker. Let's take a better look. Red Icepiercer. Luckily for me this was the trophy for the grinding leaderboard, or I would have missed a red crossbow. I did miss a trophy this year for the gifting leaderboard, which wound up being Icecrusher. Pretty sad. But for me missing Icepiercer would be way worse. Missing any leaderboard would be really hard for me, but to miss the red crossbow, a really unique item that I had been wishing for, that would have been tough. Anyway, this is a great weapon. It does share a lot of details with the original MM2 crossbow, Harvester. Like the sound of course, and the shape and lines. Except red Icepiercer is a little bigger in size, I think. And has some extra added details. Since it's an ice weapon, it has some ice formations built in, which give it more of a rugged and tough feel, I think. It makes it a bit more edgy than the clean and sleek Harvester, and helps them feel different as weapons. Also it's red. Like cherry. And also like Harvester, it has a trail to match its color. Luckily for me, red Icepiercer also matches the original ice set really well, so I can use it with Icebreaker, one of my favorite sets in the game, since red is my favorite color, and I'm a fan of both of these weapons. I like also that both of these are holiday weapons, but they don't feel stuck in the season. Like you can use Icepiercer any time of year and it doesn't really feel like a theme weapon. Last trophy to discuss. The 2022 Red Icecrusher. I don't have this item in main servers, but luckily I still have it in testing servers, so we can still do a quick review. Icecrusher is a beast. You could probably crush a nice chunk of ice with this weapon. It's a hammer, of course. It shares a lot of the same features of Icebreaker, but it has a different shape, and it's a bit more exaggerated, almost cartoony. I like it a lot. It's a really unique and cool weapon. I like the deep red color on the crusher. Matched with Icepiercer, it looks really good as a set. Size-wise, Icecrusher is pretty large, which is why I think Icepiercer is made a bit bigger too to match. Still, they go together great. Let's take a better look. Red Icecrusher. Next to my avatar you can get an idea of the size of Icecrusher. It's pretty big. It feels oversized, like Icewing kind of. Like a weapon a caveman might use. At first I wasn't sure what to think of this weapon. The stab feels big even. Big but light and airy. I do wish I got this in main, it would be fun to play with. But I do have Icebreaker, and they look a bit similar. Like the face and some details. But they do feel different. To me they're like cousins in a family of weapons. This weapon feels less like ice to me than Icebreaker. Maybe because of the deep black pattern. Feels more like stripes on an animal. It has some kind of movement or energy to it. Cool weapon. Okay, that's about it. I hope you all enjoyed my inventory showcase. I've heard a lot of players called the richest in MM2, or the richest YouTubers. I don't have a lot of subs, but anyway, I thought I'd show my inventory and represent myself. Let's take a look at what the value of these weapons are, using MM2 values for this. The images of my gold trophies here seem a bit off. Hopefully if you watched the showcase you know they look way better than this, lol. But anyway, let's tally. Gold Elderwood Revolver, 5 million seers. Gold Vampire's Edge, 5 million seers. Silver Icebreaker, 3,500,000 seers. And 14 top 100 trophies worth 800,000 seers each. That makes my grand total 24,700,000 seers. Just in trophies. Too bad seers aren't equivalent to dollars. Then I would actually be rich. Remember, in reality they have no value. Also for me they have no value. Only sentimental value. So don't let these made up numbers go to your heads, okay? Okay, thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed the showcase. And see you soon.